chair of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMeritt at the line.
Ladies and gentlemen, race fans all over the world, welcome back to RaceSpot TV here on Monday nights. What is Monday nights? Monday Night Skippys. Round number 8 here at Eau Rouge and Spa. I got that one backwards. Wow, fantastic there from me as I completely gaffed that one up. Welcome to Spa-Francorchamps, home of Eau Rouge, Pouillon, I forgot the rest of the corners because I've just made such a humongous hash of things, but
yeah, blew it.
Qualifying, yeah, I did blow it. I blew it. It was destroyed. We're into qualifying right now, so we'll have a look at the times as they're coming in. The usual suspects up front: Simon Edwards, Bill Fraser, Clark Williams doing surprisingly well this week, up in third there in qualifying at the moment. It's Rachel Wyford, Connery Maddock, and Linus Rostrom joining you tonight as always, and the race will go better than my introduction, I promise.
Well, let's just see if that will actually happen, as first qualifying times have come in. As you said, Simon Edwards currently pole position. You've got your championship leader, Jack Hobbs, down in P number 6 right now. He's just coming through the bus stop to complete his second timed lap. And an important thing to note this week is that the start-finish line isn't here. It is down on the classic pit lane. So turn number 1 will be that oh-so-famous corner of Eau Rouge.
Study one. That's what I was trying to get to when I first opened my mouth, but of course my brain needs to precede that. Regardless, getting those times coming in now as we have a decent field tonight at Connery. It's about the moment 40 drivers for Spa, so we're looking like a good race here tonight. Rest of those positions coming in, and you know what, I'll go to Linus instead. Linus' track, it's one of the most storied historic tracks we have on the calendar. In terms of iRacing circuits, it's one of people's most memorable, one of the first tracks people do think back to, and oh, Antonides, Linus, what's the time?
He's just got into P number 1 with a 2:47.893, so that's pole position by exactly 1/10.
Fantastic, and of course, your thoughts on the circuit, Spa?
Well, it's big. Everyone knows about it. Every race fan in the world should know about it, and Eau Rouge can make or break your lap or your entire race here. One little mistake and you're in the wall. So
go for it, Will Vincent. Drop it like it's hot.
Hello, I was at Spa a couple of days ago, and I'll
knew
tell
you
you one
wanted
thing.
to say this. I knew it.
I know. I will tell you one thing about Spa as well, is that you don't understand the elevation change at Spa until you actually walk around this track. Going up from the Eau Rouge Radio Complex up to the bus stop chicane, it's a massive walk. Going up from Stavelot towards Pouillon is a massive walk. People joke that you need to get food before you go up the hill towards Pouillon. There's a food circuit there, perfectly located, Rachel, because the next thing is going up almost a semi-vertical incline.
Well, there you go. A semi-vertical incline is best traversed after food. And we'll ask Will exactly what he ate whilst at Spa after the race, of course, so stick around for that. But for now, qualifying is just about to end, and it's looking like our times will stay as they are. Antonides, Edwards, Williams, Fraser, all not on laps, so that's now set. We're going to head to your starting grid. With a time of 2 minutes 47.893 for Antonides takes pole once again this season. He's had a great run of those. Simon Edwards, Clark Williams, Bill Fraser, with Stuart Adcock in 5th place. And it's Jack Hobbs As we said, points leader, Ben Daniels, Gary Tor, Anthony Catt, and Daryl Taylor pulling out a massive lap there for 10th place. Behind that, Matt Cox, Paul Thurston, Robert Plumley, Adam Terry, James Child, McRitchie, Ridlington, Cook, Hewitt, and Elliott. And of course, we look at our 1 second bracket, and Spa's one of those tracks where that's going to be a very, very small group. We're looking for a 48.8, and that comes basically at 9th place. So, quite a small bracket there for our 1 second divider. It's our yardstick of competitiveness for a racetrack, and we look at somewhere like Lime Rock. That's more like the top 35 people. Here, it's only 9 cars. It makes a big difference. As the rest of the field fills out onto the grid, 48 cars are taken to this one, stretching all the way back to that final corner of the lap. I'm about to get things going here tonight. Antonides just taking his spot on the grid. This has us now officially filled that grid out. Everybody's now taking their spots. We should be starting momentarily. Just going to wait now for the flagman to initiate things, and we have 9 laps of racing here tonight. 9 laps. Just an average of just under 3 minutes per lap, so this one's going to be a pretty good race tonight in terms of its duration and the excitement, of course. With the drivers up front, Antonides, Edwards, Adcock could make things very exciting. Notable lack of Simonson, and of course 1 or 2 others of the recent additions of fast drivers, Tom Ward as well, not showing up this week. Should open things up considerably, especially with fast times, of course, from the likes of Daryl Taylor. Lights are on. Green flag flies. The usual good start by the top group of drivers. Everyone's single filing out now for that first left-hander on the climb up to Rouge Radio. Not a big long run into this massive climb up the hill. A climb that Will Vincent himself has struggled up very recently. Probably not as fast as these Skip Barber cars, but that is to be expected. Early move by Edwards there, looking to the outside of Antonides on the run down the Camel Straight here. And it's going to be 4 wide. What? Why not? YOLO. But no, Skippys, YOLO. Connery.
Yeah, here comes Bill Fraser right to the point in the end of the field. They're still almost 3 wide coming down onto the brakes into Lecombe. That becomes 3 wide even further back for P number 2 now as they get themselves sorted out. No contact at all, amazingly. Coming through there through your first couple of cars into Malmedy now. And oh, that was a very close move there between Adcock and Hobbs. That was for position number 6 or so as Hobbs would go side by side with Anthony Catt down through Rivage. Oh, Hobbs is squirrely all over the curb there, but manages to keep it together.
Certainly does, and that front pack managed to filter themselves down very nicely there. As we mentioned, Bill Fraser 2 cars off. Linus, what's going on?
That is Robert Plumley, and we also got Barry West flipping
more contact,
over the front of him.
Yeah.
And that's going to be race over for both of them.
That was No Name Corner there, or Cow Corner as some of us call it, of course, heading through the apex. Plumley gets wide, and Linus knows that remark. He gets tipped there. Plumley makes contact with the 87 machine of Adam Terry. Sends him sideways into the 187 there of McRitchie, and, well, the biscuit got dunked. Antonides dropping back into 3rd place here at this point. We mentioned that a moment ago. Clark Williams behind him. Stuart Adcock still in that train of cars. Last car in that top 5 group, just behind Williams there. As we've shuffled our top 3, of course. Antonides went back 3 places. Edwards came forwards 1, but Bill Fraser jumped up 3 spots there from 4th on the grid as Connery into Blanchemont now and into that section here. The final run down. A very fast section here. Big braking for the bus stop.
Yeah, it is. As you see, Simon Edwards, P number 2, sucking up in the draft towards your race leader. We'll have to go the long way around, at least initially, for the first bus stop chicane apex. Let's see if he manages to hold it around here. If he can, then he has a very good chance of taking a position coming off the corner, and he does that very, very well. But a good run off the corner now for Bill Fraser. We'll be able to take it around the outside for last source. But there's still a huge piranha pack of cars behind that could get involved with this one, as it is a sort of 5-car breakaway at the front right now, but 3 wide for P number 6 right now. That's Ben Daniels down the inside of multiple cars there. Manages to get himself ahead, but the thing is, the draft is so strong here as we're on board with the number 9 that the drivers can't really get away if they're only slightly quicker.
Absolutely. In fact, and Ben Daniels is making some meteoric passes here in the field so far today, as he came up the inside of 2 cars running 2 wide into the bus stop and made both places. As here, though, going to be stuck in the middle of this group, as I believe that is actually Gary Tall just behind him there. The 207 car, one of the banana machines. Going to go 3 wide yet again here. Could be 4, actually. Yep, let's do this again, because apparently going 4 wide is our new favourite sport. Never say Spa does not provide exciting racing. Certainly is one of those exciting tracks. Top 5 is shuffled already. Bill Fraser's back into 4th place. Stuart Adcock up into 3rd. Antonido's back to the sharp end here. Fahim Lena's back at the very front of this field. I can see these guys changing position a lot during this race.
Yeah, down that front straightaway, it's just, or straight away after Rouge, they're just changing positions all the time, and as you saw on first and second lap, they're 4 wide, and there's really nothing you can do if you're at the front. You're just going to be falling backwards.
They certainly are, of course, and wow, this top group is definitely pulling the gap away already. 3 seconds on 6th place, Anthony Catt. Well, it was Anthony Catt actually at that point. It's now
Fraser.
not him, as Bill Fraser having problems.
Yeah, that was a little bit of contact there with the car ahead. I think that was Simon Edwards, just tangled wheels slightly. I don't think that car is... actually, that was with Stuart Adcock, in fact, not Edwards. But the result is the same contact between the 2 drivers. And we'll just have to see... Actually, Bill Fraser's off once again. So you see the replay of the initial incident on screen, but there's terminal damage to Bill Fraser's car.
There is, and that's not great for Bill Fraser, unfortunately. That's going to signal the end of his race. Too tight there into Pugnon for Bill Fraser. Costs him a chance at a victory here today. In fact, it costs him more than that. It costs him a chance at a podium and more than likely a top 10 finish. That damage will be largely terminal to a points finish here. Looking at Edwards and Adcock as this. Edwards and Adcock. Not Edwards and Adcock. That's horrendously bad. What is it with me today? I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm apparently hybridizing drivers as they're going to try and fit their cars into the bus stop here and try and gain positions as Antonides still leads the way. Adcock in 2nd place now with Edwards in 3rd. Clark Williams 4th. That group's now only 4 cars at the front, but 4 cars all know how to race the circuit, Linus.
Yeah, it's 4 of the best drivers in the series, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do down the straightaway now after a Rouge. We might see all 4 of them going side by side, but Antonides certainly has gotten a little bit of a gap at the front, so he won't have any pressure up Eau Rouge at least, but by the end of the straight I'll expect him to be at least in 3rd place.
Certainly is. In fact, who knows what order they'll be in once they get out of Eau Rouge Radion here. Climbing up the hill. These cars really can do it flat out. No real trouble for them in this sort of speed bracket here as Adcock goes for the point. So does Edwards, as expected almost. Clark Williams even has a chance to get involved in this pack here as they'll cycle through. Edwards looking like he has the opportunity to take the lead into the next sequence. Secured very respectably there as Adcock up to 2nd place. Antonides back down to 3rd place there from the lead in 1 straight time. Connery, this is just how fast it changes.
Yeah, this front pack is just going to be shuffling for pretty much the entire way of the rest of this race until that final lap, where, well, this is just a phase where drivers are figuring out where they want to be on that final lap, coming onto the Camel Street, at the end of the Camel Street, and of course coming into the bus stop as well. It's a very, very tactical race. It's chess at what is going to be almost 200 kilometers an hour, which doesn't sound like much in these Skip Barber cars, but it's still a very, very scary thing when you're going to head 4 wide down into the Lagoon like they have done on the first and second laps.
Absolutely is, as we're looking at our biggest movers in the field so far today, and right now up 6 spots. Ryan Hewitt, the Torpedo, up 6 spots from 19th to 13th. Up at about 5 spots, Tony Stack up to 16th place. No huge movers in our top 10. Things staying fairly quiet there. Although we have got Seymour Harding 37th to 22nd, and 38th Nick Sigley to 24th place. Nicholas Vaughan Roberts 40th to 25th. So some poor qualifiers and some non-qualifiers up positions. As Connor, we have another mover, don't we?
Yeah, we do. It's going to be Alan Chapman down in P number 21 right now, up 15 positions, which is very, very good for him. There's the car ahead as well. Seymour Harding up 17 positions as well. So fantastic work for drivers that started at the back of the field, just siving their way through, using the draft to slingshot themselves past cars. As looking back to your leading group, though, they're still absolutely fighting it tooth and nail, but currently it is still Adcock that's going to lead them round 4, perhaps getting the leading lap here, but of course that comes when they get onto the classic pit straight, not this Formula 1 pit straight that they use in that series. So 4-car breakaway. You've got Ben Daniels currently leading that second pair, shall we say. So Ben Daniels and Hobbs, they're going to look to work together to try and slingshot themselves back up to this front pack.
They are indeed, if they can do that, but with this lead group actually drafting fairly well, making passes on the straights, it's not looking likely. In fact, as the time just seems to get wider and wider and wider as the laps progress. On lap number 4 here now of 9 laps tonight. Up onto Kemmel, and we're expecting another massive conflagration of cars. Antonides predictably goes high. Edwards goes for the middle. Once again, it's Clark Williams playing catch-up, trying to get himself into line here to make a move, but probably won't have a chance to do it as they approach the braking zone here. Edwards, again, from middle of that front pack, Linus, shoots himself to the front, right in time for the corner.
Yeah, third place seems to be the place to be when you go onto that straightaway, and you definitely don't want to be leading. And like I said, Williams playing catch-up at the back, but it doesn't look like he wants to be anywhere else than at the back, so maybe he's got something in store for us for the last lap.
Maybe he does indeed. We'll have to keep an eye on how they play this one out towards the end of the race, of course. Tactics will likely change dramatically from trying to make time over the second pack to trying to beat each other. We'll have a look back at the field to see exactly what's going on. In fact, looking at the bananas right now, because look at this. Gary Tall, along with Darrell Taylor and Paul Thurston. That's 3 bananas. In fact, that's a bunch of bananas here running down towards Pouillon at the bottom of the hill. It looks to be the 50 there is the furthest forwards of this group. That's Paul Thurston, actually. We have the 207 of Tall, and then we have Darrell Taylor at the rear of that group. Just in front of them, that's Anthony Catt, actually, who's trying to hold this group of drivers off. Doing his best. Oh, big wiggle there by Tall, mid-corner. On board there with him, as you see the driving now. Very close racing amongst this group. But having 3 teammates together, Linus, that's a massive advantage in terms of racecraft.
It is. If you can work together and draft properly down the straight, then it'll be a very good benefit, but one mistake could take all of you out as well, so you still got to be careful. But 3 bananas against Anthony Catt, he's not got the odds in his favour in this one for sure, as they're coming down towards the bus stop.
Well, now they're coming down towards Blanchemont first, but you know, I'd like to say I can always make the joke about bananas always bunching up, but this is the first time we've seen all 3 of them together, or at least 3 of the bananas. It's 4 drivers in total. In towards the bus stop now, of course, past Catt with one of them. The other 2 sitting behind him for the moment until we arrive at the bus stop. Will they have an opportunity? Not in the entry to the bus stop. Big group of cars behind them, including likes of Tim Adcock. We've got Matt Cox, Child, Hewitt, Terry in that group as well. So a lot of opportunity for racing. Leaders heading into the final corner now. It's Antonides, Adcock, Edwards, and Williams. Williams, in recent races, Connery, has been playing this second fiddle role in lead packs. He's always there, but he seems to be waiting at the back of the pack for something to go wrong to take advantage, but when things don't, he seems to be left out to dry.
Yeah, I actually think this is a quite typical Clark Williams thing, because he's done this for pretty much the entirety that I've been on this broadcast. Oh, there goes Simon Edwards shooting down the middle of your leaders. Wow, there wasn't a lot of space to work with there, but he gets himself to the race leaders. A little bit more contact there with Fahim Antonides there. So Antonides and Adcock go side by side in towards Lacombe. Here's a replay, and just wow.
There you go, the replay on screen now of a very aggressive move by Edwards there, but makes it work somehow. A lot of tolerance between these guys, a lot of racecraft and control over their cars, but Edwards muscles his way through here. Super, super close there, as you saw. Heading down towards No Name Corner once again. Dropping down the hill towards Pouillon. Edwards, Antonides, Adcock, and Williams in that first group. Our second group of cars, Thurston up 5 spots into 7th place. He leads this group behind Daniels and Hobbs, back in the 7th spot. Anthony Catt behind him, followed by Darrell Taylor, I believe. Actually, no, Gary Tall. Trying to differentiate between bananas at speed is quite difficult. Adam Terry towards the rear of that group, and James Child, the Green Machine, splitting the bananas there. Could call that a banana split. I'm going to stop with these puns because they're terrible, as Jack Hobbs and Ben Daniels still muscling it up in the 5th and 6th spots in a moment. Daniels has been swapping spots a lot here fairly regularly. Actually, those two just drafting, swapping leaders, drafting, swapping, trying to make time, but they've lost half a second of your leaders.
Yeah, there's too many cars in the front pack for them to be able to catch up, so they're just going to have to do what they can to stay away from the next
cut you off here, but the leaders are having a bit of a tussle, heading towards Blanchimont. Antonides gets past Edwards, and Adcock was looking to take it too wide. Edwards gets shuffled back to 3rd place there, just before Blanchimont. Will we have another tussle heading in towards the bus stop? Good opportunity to see how the racing goes, but I have to say, Connery, the racing in this series, every time we come to Spa, is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's been absolutely brilliant, and he does get to within millimeters. You saw that on the last lap. There was Simon Edwards shooting down the middle, and that's also a huge statement from Simon Edwards there to the rest of this pack. If you give him an inch, you'll take an absolute mile. So you don't want to give him any space to work with, because he's so aggressive with these moves. So that's what they have to be thinking about now when we get on towards the final lap. We've got 4 laps to go as we head our way across the line. Currently, it is that Movano car of Fahim Antonides leading from the front, and then Adcock, then Edwards, then Clark Williams, who risks actually dropping off the back of this pack, but I think he'll be fine once he gets the the triple toe down the Camel Straight. But I don't think he's going to be in a position to challenge. Will we see 3 wide yet again? We will see 3 wide yet again. This time Edwards goes to extreme driver's left-hand side.
He does, and he has the advantage in terms of distance by the time we arrive at the braking zone. Antonides has just dropped back in line, almost accepting his fate at that point, as Edwards going to hang it around the outside of Adcock. Does it? Can Antonides get the crossover on Adcock? No, he cannot. Gets right up behind him, has to back off the gas there a little bit. Williams trying to do his best to hold into this group. Not had an opportunity for himself to make a move yet. Edwards back to the sharp end. Just behind them, still Daniels leading now from Hobbs. Behind them, Thurston and Cat have broken away from the rest of the group. Those two now, 7th and 8th places, have split off somewhat. Gary Tall out of the race. What's happened to Gary Tall, Linus?
I shall look into that as fast as I can here.
Oh, he's pulled it off the side of the track, coming onto the Camel Straight, just out of Radion as well. So the damage must have happened before that. I don't think we'll be able to find out what happened, but the battle for P number 4 and P number 5 still raging on between Ben Daniels and P number 4, P number 5, P5, P6. There we go. We'll get it right eventually. P5, P6. Ben Daniels versus Jack Hobbs, and Hobbs, he's just running yet again another clean and consistent race, and that's why he's top of the championship standings at the moment with no race wins.
And that's absolutely right, of course. Jack Hobbs not won a race this season, leading the points, as Connery made very clear. That just tells you the measure of consistency of the driver there. And Linus, points mean prizes. Just having the great results, race in, race out, not getting into trouble. This win it or bin it attitude we see from a lot of the leaders. It's not championship material.
It's not, unless you win most of the times, but that rarely happens. So it's better to keep on finishing 4th, 3rd, 5th, rather than having a win every 3 or 4 weeks and crashing out the rest. But it's shaping up to be quite an interesting battle, and at the moment it doesn't really look like they're thinking about crashing the cars, but usually that happens at the end, so just have to keep an eye on it.
Of course, I don't think they're planning on it. That would definitely be a differentiation in this one, but you never know what's operating underneath the helmets of those drivers. Leading group there coming through the final corner. It'll be Adcock leading this time across the line. Antonides, Edwards, Williams, your top 4. Gonna have Eau Rouge Radion here as they get into that first sequence of sweepers up onto the very fast Camel. This group split up a bit more than they have been previously, Connery, but again, that suck up is so massive here that it's going to be very easy for Antonides. Look at him already gaining.
Yep, driver's left-hand side has to be, and Will Edwards his way down the middle once again. Adcock is well aware of that one, closes off the gap, but Edwards have to go to the inside, maybe to the middle now. Simon Edwards, fantastic driving, going onto the brakes now, in towards Lacombe. Edwards will get to the race lead coming through here as Adcock and Clark Williams, they're battling behind as well, so 2 by 2 into Malmedy. Antonides will actually hold on to the race lead.
My gosh. Clark Williams, you saw it here first, actually getting stuck in. I'm slightly impressed. I actually see him trying to make a move there. In fact, he's going to probably have this one over Adcock, unless he can hang it around the outside. Ooh. Adcock manages to hang on somehow. We'll have the inside for No Name. Should give him the advantage. It does. Antonides, Edwards, Adcock, Williams, order restored in the top 4. As once again, they almost returned to kind of qualifying order, but not quite there. Great qualified speed from Williams, of course. He got a 2:48.023, so very, very close. Only about 2/10 off your race leader, but Edwards, very, very fast. He's always one to keep an eye on here, of course, as the top 4 breaking through now. Looking back to the second group, of course, Thurston and Cat definitely have split off now by a country mile. Connery.
That was Jack Hobbs getting wicked loose coming through at the start of the fun. Yeah, wow, he just like a whole bunch of entry oversteer, just let that car drift out and well held there from the driver of the 361. I definitely couldn't have held that one.
Absolutely, and well, he manages to hold on somehow here as a move by Adcock on Edwards in towards Blanchimont. He did it to him last time by, he'll do it again. Hancock knows where he can make the passes and makes them count. As an opportunity to take on Fahim now in the run towards the bus stop. Can he go around the outside and just secure that lead cheekily? Good look to the inside. We'll just stay in line for now. Doesn't need to make things too excessive, but Edwards has been in this 3rd spot coming up to Kemmel, of course, a few times, Linus, and every time it seems to result in him ending up in the lead.
Yeah, the bad news for him though is that he keeps dropping back to 3rd over the lap, so what's going to happen to him during the last lap? Is he going to be able to hold on to the lead, or is he automatically going to be shuffled back into 3rd? So that straightaway is way too early on the lap for his liking at the moment.
Certainly is, and he'll have to make sure he does his best to try and rectify that problem, but we'll see exactly how it does shuffle out here on the Kemmel Straight. Edwards has dropped back a huge amount. Williams has dropped back a huge amount there this time by. That might have actually cost him the draft at this point. That could split things up rather dramatically as Adcock gets boxed in. Edwards goes wide. A slightly different run here, Connery, down the Kemmel than we've seen in the past. It was very restrained, almost as though nobody actually wants to be leading.
Yeah, maybe that's just the plan, as it is going to be Edwards yet again leading on the exit of Le Cum. But let's see if he can finally hold that position as he heads across the line. It would be a good benchmark to see where drivers need to be on that final lap, or at least the start of that final lap. So heading their way through downhill section of the downhill section of Ravage, and of course No Name Corner as well. We're on board with the car that's 3rd in line right now. That's number 52 of Stuart Adcock, one of the most experienced drivers in this entire field. And well, can he work some magic here at Spa? He's in a good position here, running P number 3. That'll, if he makes it P number 3 coming over the top of Rouge Radion, that means he'll probably be leading in towards Le Cum. And then can he do what Simon Edwards has failed to do so far and hold that lead all the way to the end of the lap?
Let's see whether he can do that or not, because now it's becoming a bit more important that he holds on. This time by, they'll only have 1 lap remaining in which to decide the winner of this race, and Williams is caught back up here very quickly. Edwards on the points, Antonides, Adcock in 3rd place. Now this is the defining lap. Of course, the order they come across the line here, Connery, will be a big factor in how they end up running this race. So are people trying to shuffle themselves back into that 3rd spot here for the option to slingshot through to the lead and hold it actually towards the end of this race?
He could be.
As Edwards does it, he almost gives up the spot.
Yeah, he gives up the 2 spots there. So Fahim Antonides is back towards the race lead. So it might not actually be 3rd you want to be. Well, it might not actually be 1st you want to be heading in towards Le Cum. It'd probably be 2nd, so you can complete a pass like that coming out of Blanchimont in towards the bus stop. So there's a huge amount of on-track strategy. Usually when we talk about strategy, we talk about pit stop strategy. But the thing is, in this series, there are no pit stops. It's all strategy and how you position yourself out there on the racing circuit rather than coming down onto the lane.
It certainly is, and we have such a huge pool of talent with so much of it so close together in terms of time, and we end up with these big lead groups running every week where it's not just a runaway winner that's almost decided on lap 1 should they make no mistakes. Here, you actually have to race, and you have to have race craft more importantly, because these guys are competing mentally against each other, not just physically on the track. They have to be putting themselves in the drivers' heads and getting under their skin as we come up now towards Kemmel for the final time.
Here comes Clark Williams. I think he's going to be going for the lead now.
Probably going to try. Edwards has already gone wide. Clark Williams looks to try and find a gap. The gap almost gets closed on him there as it's 3 wide for the lead. Williams can't find a way through, actually. He's going to be alongside Antonides. 3 wide for 2nd now behind Adcock, who is leading. Ooh. Oh, contact there with Antonides. Light, no damage. Bit of a breakaway here, actually, for Stuart Adcock. This is almost exactly what he wanted. He's managed to hold them busy at the end of Kemmel there, rather than allowing that big conflagration that we see most laps. On board there with Antonides. That's a bigger gap than we've seen for the lead, but it should close up as we run towards Blanchimont, of course, Linus. But right now, the order's definitely changed, and I think maybe 1 or 2 passes is possible running through Blanchimont, but that's our only opportunity.
Yeah, as long as Antonides can get a good exit and get a little bit of a draft on Adcock coming down towards the bus stop, I think he's going to be able to lunge it up the inside, but I'm not too sure that Edwards will have too much of a shot, and Clark Williams is definitely out of the running for the win here unless something happens. As Antonides gets a little bit sideways, but he keeps it going. And
so
he's
did Edwards as well.
closing in on Adcock, so we'll see what happens here.
Connor, you have something?
Yeah, that was Adcock, your race leader, currently running a little bit wide coming out of the Fania, but this is the important run now down towards Blanchimont. Antonides has to get as much of that slipstream as possible. He's just going to sit directly behind Stuart Adcock. You've got Edwards and Williams behind, but on board with Antonides. He's going to have to go around the outside of Blanchimont. He has to do a Max Verstappen move, Rachel.
He's going to have to try it. Can he do it? It looks like he will.
Oh.
Fahim Antonides pulling the Max Verstappen there round the outside at corner where that just doesn't happen. Adcock has to dive on the brakes here. Can he go for it? Big dive. I saw that one coming. Doesn't quite get his nose in there. Williams does take a dive. Loses a spot again. Oh no, he might gain it here actually. He does. Gains a spot on Edwards for 3rd place. Snatching a possible podium position here if he can hold on to this one. Antonides though dove at the perfect opportunity, and what a move there to secure the lead through the final corner. It almost looks like it's set here. He's not done it yet. Adcock closing in, but the line is just here, and will they have an opportunity? No! Fahim Antonides takes the win here at Spa, narrowly beating out Stuart Adcock, and I've got to say, that move around Blanchimont, move of the race.
Absolutely. Here comes the replay of that brilliant move there from Fahim Antonides. That just requires 100% commitment around the outside. You can't have second thoughts about making this move. You just have to go for it, and he manages to make it work. Absolutely brilliant. That's why he's got so many championships under his belt. Of course, none in recent times, but maybe in the not too distant future, we'll see Fahim Antonides back on the top of those championship standings. But for now, it's just a race win for him, but a fantastic one at that.
It certainly is a great move there from him, and honestly, with how shallow Adcock had to enter the corner, Linus, to try and hold that defensive line entering, I think he allowed the move from Antonides there, because obviously having to enter slower to deal with the shallower entry line kind of cost him.
Yeah, that really cost him, and he should have moved that wide straight away, but then of course Antonides would have been on the inside instead, so there's just, I don't really know what Adcock could have done differently there, other than force Fahim off the track, and that's obviously not what he wants to do, so...
we saw he tried for a dive, but just wasn't successful at the end.
No, I don't know, Fahim is just too good at this point of the race, so it's a brilliant move from Fahim, and Adcock did what he could, but it just wasn't enough, unfortunately. And
it certainly was, and we have the results now before we talk to any of the drivers, and of course... winner tonight, Fahim Antonides coming in on top with Stuart Adcock and Clark Williams joining him on the podium. Simon Edwards, Jack Hobbs finishes off your top 5 with Ben Daniels, Anthony Catt just beating out Paul Thurston, who's back in 8th place, Adam Terry and Jake Ridlington in the 10th position. Ryan the Torpedo Hewitt back in 11th with Matt Cox, Daniel J. Cook, Jonathan Sheen, Tom Barry, James Child, Seymour Harding, Nick Sigley, Tony Stack and Nicholas Vaughan Roberts up 20 spots at the end as our highest climber in your top 20, and I actually think in the race it's a good one for him there. Great moves there by Nicholas Vaughan Roberts. So results up on your screen, and well, without further delay, we have your race winner with us right now, Fahim Antonides, rounding outside at Blanchimont. Are we calling you Fahim Verstappen now?
Well, I hope I don't wreck as many times as he does, so...
well, you used to. We all remember that. You used to wreck as much as he did. We all remember back in the old days how Fahim never finished a race.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, look, you know, now that I've got to wear somebody's uniform, which is Thrustmaster Movano's uniform, I've got to be very careful how I go on track. So I wear those colors with responsibility. Sometimes you've got to take a gamble and it pays off, but you mustn't take excessive gambles, and that's what we tried to do today. Just keep it on track. And what I tried to do is make sure that I was crossing the start-finish line first to get drafted up the hill after Eau Rouge, because then lying in second position, you're then in prime position to be able to draft whoever's in front of you through Blanchimont. So that's what we tried to do. But the crucial move, I think, was going up the hill. Kemmel Straight, is it? I can't remember what it's called.
It is indeed.
Going up the hill and blocking Stu behind Simon, because if I had left enough room for him to go through, then I would have probably been in third position going into the last lap. So I think the race was won a lap before the end of the race, and was a tactical boxing in of Stu. Otherwise, it would have been game over. But it was
That's
a great
what we were
race.
discussing, of course, up here in the booth. We were saying just how you guys are playing basically 100-mile-an-hour chess in terms of placing your cars. As a veteran of this series, Fahim, obviously tracks come and go from the schedule, but Spa is always one that seems to endure for the Skip Barber cars. What does it mean to you guys to race here?
Well, this is a great track to race because, as you say, it is a game of chess. The draft is so powerful in this car that you could even going up the Kemmel Straight, you could go past somebody twice. But because of that, you don't have to be very fast, or you don't have to be right at the cutting edge of fast to keep up with the very top guys. So it does make racing very complicated. You've got to plan what you're going to do throughout the race to be able to win. And because of that, it's also a bit of a lottery sometimes. You can plan as much as you like, but it's close racing in these cars, and anything can happen. I personally prefer the tracks where the draft isn't so powerful, because then you can actually focus on hot lapping and pulling away from people. Here it's very complicated to do that. But because of that, it's fantastic, and I really enjoy racing now.
Certainly as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Fahim. Congratulations on another win today, and hopefully some more championship points that are very much needed.
Cheers, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. Next up, we're having a chat here with Paul Thurston, coming home today in 7th place. A top 10 finish, Paul.
I think you find it was 8th, actually. What's that?
Was it? No.
How would that happen?
Showing a 7th in the end.
Oh, excellent. That's all right. Then I lost 6th then by 400ths from Anthony, which is a brilliant little battle we were having. I managed to screw up, and I wasn't second coming up the Kemmel Straights on the last lap. So he got by, made it halfway. But then I knew I could get him before Blanchimont on the run out down the back, and I did that, and I managed to hold him through the bus stop. But then, because he was right on my tail then, and I took the inside line into La Source. But the problem there is you haven't got the lock on this car to hold it that tight round La Source, and because he took the slightly wider line, he had the better exit, he got on the inside, and he just beat me down there. But that's a brilliant lovely little battle there, as it had been all race actually, because I mean we were in a little pack. I don't know if you noticed it.
We did. We saw the bunch of bananas.
Oh yeah, well, three of us in the bunch. It was great fun.
Oh my gosh! No, that's probably the first time we've actually seen the bananas all bunched up together.
Well, no, it isn't. It's just you clearly don't look hard enough.
Wow, are you going there, Mr. Thurston?
I mean, the other two were quicker than me. I didn't seem to have quite the pace of Gary and Darryl today. But we were in that little bunch with Anthony, and Adam Terry was just behind. Matt Cox was in there. There was the James Child. There was a group of really good drivers in there, and we were just swapping places in and out. At one point, I came up over Radion and then just sort of squeezed between Darryl and James Child, I think it was. That was just about a car's width, but I had a choice. I could either just lift or try aim for the gap. Luckily, they knew I was there, and I went through, and I went past about 3 cars on that lap. I did it again later, but other people did it to me afterwards. So you know, they got me later.
You certainly did. Well, thanks very much for joining us today, Paul. It was a fantastic race from you, a top 10 result there. So congratulations on that one. We'll hopefully have a chance to talk to you next time.
See you then.
We'll see you around. Well, that's all we have time for this week, folks. Do not forget, actually no, before we go, far more importantly, we were going to ask what Will Vincent had to eat at Spa. Will.
Well, okay. So I had a sausage, I've had fries, I had ice cream, I had a kebab, but the best thing at Spa is the fries. Fries with curry ketchup and mayonnaise. That's what you need to have. It's €2.50, but buy it.
That is far cheaper food at a WEC round than you'll ever get at a Formula 1 race.
Yes.
But regardless, on that bombshell of Will's dietary probably torture after coming back from Spa, we'll wrap things up. Don't forget, join us again same time next week for more Monday Night Skippys action. I've been Rachel Whiteford, will be joined by Linus Bergstrom, Conor Maddock, and the digestive tract of Will Vincent. We'll see you next time.